Minecraft. Almost everyone has either heard of it, seen it, or played it at some point in their lives. Okay, maybe not everyone, but if you know of Minecraft, then you know the basic premise of the game. Get blocks, mine, build stuff, and yeah. But all that requires multiple blocks, which the game gives you an unlimited amount of, which I thought was too easy. So, I tried to beat Minecraft, but only with one block at my disposal. And oh yeah, I'm doing it in hardcore. Will I be able to beat the dragon? Watch till the end to find out. But wait. Please sub. Thanks. So, I spawned in on, you guessed it, one block. With literally nothing else around. The only thing I could possibly do was break the block. Or jump, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the whole hardcore thing. Which, before any of you say anything in the comments, I know that this isn't technically hardcore. Listen, the world was pre-made and was automatically put in the mode, so I couldn't change it to hardcore. But you have my word, if I die, the world will be deleted. Anyway, I broke the block and got a bunch of dirt. With this, I started to expand my platform a bit because I really didn't want to fall. Ooh, wood. Let's go. I eventually got my first piece of wood, and with this, I made a pickaxe and an axe. Should have made a shovel because all I was really getting was dirt, but I didn't think of it at the time, but not too long after, I had enough to make one. Look at me. I'm so smart and good at this game. Now, with my platform being all wood and big enough that I was way less likely to fall, you'll never guess what I did. There we go, look at us. Broke the block more. Progress. Exciting, I know. After expanding my platform a bit more, I broke the block even more until this villager came flying out of the ground. Who are you? Its trades almost all needed stone, so I let him hang out for a bit while I broke the block some more. Hey villager man. Think I could get some stone? Oh my god, he's only gonna let me buy 2? God. Even though I brutally murdered that villager, another one spawned not too long after. I didn't really have anything I needed or could buy, so I left it. Then another one spawned. Then something magical happened. I got my first block of stone. With that, I made some stone tools and was progressing just a bit faster now. In the night, I expanded my platform a bit more, and this pretty much concluded day 1. Right before the sun started to rise, I realized that it was getting really dark, so I made a furnace and started to smelt some wood so I could get charcoal to make some torches. One of the villagers that was here despawned, but the other walked over my block, and I wasn't having that. Can you not? Oh. In the morning, I reached stage 4 and bought an iron pick from the villager that spawned in. In this stage, I was able to get iron, so when I had enough, I made more iron tools to make this a bit easier. Eventually, I got tired of breaking this single block, so I made a small bridge out and started to make another platform. I finished building it going into the night and decided that this platform was going to be a tree farm, so I planned out how I wanted to space out the dirt blocks. After I had them all placed, I planted my first tree and used bone meal to make it grow and then broke it to get more saplings. Then I did the same with another tree but ran out of bone meal. When I walked back to my small island, I got an idea for a way to stop myself from falling off the bridge. I decided to expand this so that it went around my whole platform, but when I went to make some more fences, I had some uninvited guests spawn in. I quickly patched up the hole and then went back to building the railings. I had another creeper spawn in, and when I killed it, it dropped sugarcane. Sugarcane? Oh. Then I did some more building and broke the block a bit more. I look away for 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I killed all of the mobs and continued building in the morning. As I built, I kept getting more saplings and growing trees to expand my tree farm. I eventually finished the fences and placed some torches on the outside to stop more mobs from spawning in. Alright. In the night, I continued building the railings for my main platform, but messed up, so I had to completely redo it. I knew I messed it up. I knew it. I finished that in the morning and just continued breaking the block. Eventually, another villager spawned and a big tree spawned in, so I went around and broke all of the small ones and then worked on breaking down the big one. I eventually finished and broke the block even more. As the sun set, I placed some more torches to stop things from spawning. However, I decided torches weren't enough and made some lanterns with the extra iron that I had from the block. Eventually, I decided to pull up the advancement tab and saw the different stages and how many times I had to break the block to advance to them. Then I spent a lot of time just breaking the block and making coal blocks to make the ore smelting a bit easier and farming more wood from my tree farm. This is what I did for about the next 2 days when I got the idea to make a small platform of diorite around the block to make it look a bit nicer. I had a villager spawn on top of a big tree and I couldn't be bothered to go up there. Luckily, he jumped off the tree for me. Did he jump down? You don't have anything good for me, right? Okay. Eventually, I had another one spawn in and sell me bones and webs, which I would need, so I bought some. Then I made some more diorite slabs and finished a small area, but I wasn't done. I had the idea to make a small shrine-looking room thing around this block, so I started on that. Then I continued to break the block in hope of getting more diorite so I could finish it. I eventually reached level 6 and bought some obsidian from the villager. I was going to buy a lava bucket, but I couldn't afford it. I bought as many blocks of obsidian as I could, and then did what needed to be done. Thank you for your service. Then as I continued breaking the block, another one spawned in. I bought some carrots so I could eventually start a farm, and the next day I reached stage 7. This villager sold me a water bucket, which I needed, and the block was now able to give me diamonds. Diamonds! I bought 2 water buckets from the villager and finished the shrine for the block. And yes, I killed this one too. I then threw some of my useless items over the edge. I started building the bridge out to where I wanted my farm to be, following the same structure as the rest of the island. I carefully planned out the border of the farm and started placing some dirt blocks as the sun set. Put water in and placed some blocks under it so that the water wouldn't flow down into the abyss. I also put torches all around because this was a big platform and I didn't want to deal with the mobs that would spawn here. As the sun slowly started to rise, I finished getting all the dirt ready and planting my carrots. Then I went around and started the fencing for the farm. After that was done, I made some lanterns that replaced the torches, and then I went around using bone meal to grow the wheat that honestly I have no idea how I got. I'm too lazy to go back and look in the recording for it. I did this until I ran out of bone meal, and I'd say I had a pretty solid foundation for my farm started up. I put some chests near the entrance to store any crops I got, and then I went to chop down some trees. And by some, I mean all of them. In the night, I wanted to put light in the farm to stop things from spawning, but couldn't really figure out how to do it.
But how?
Eventually, I came up with the idea of putting floating fences over the water with a lantern under it. Then I broke the block until morning when I had a great idea. You know what, I think it's time to fully organize chests and all the good goodies that can come from them. Soon after, another villager spawned and sold me Eyes of Ender, which I might need later on. Who knows? I made a blast furnace to smelt all of the ores I was getting a bit faster, and then I broke the block until night when another villager showed up and sold me some chickens. Me too. I'll let you despawn naturally because I don't know if murdering you will cancel that order. I ran around tending to my crops and cutting down trees until I realized that if I was going to have chickens here, I would need somewhere to put them. So I started making another platform and I decided to put it next to the farm because, well, chickens are normally in farms. So, it made sense, I guess. When doing this, I messed up my counting and ended up having 2 connected platforms. I didn't really care though and just continued building. As night came, I came to a realization. You know what I'm realizing is that I have not slept. And no sleep leads to these funny little things called phantoms. Boom. Wait a second. I realized I had string, which could make wool, but I didn't have enough. Oh, yeah. Wait. I don't have enough. I was gone for 2 seconds. There were just too many mobs for me to deal with, so I sat up in a tree until morning where they would all burn. This is when it happened. The phantoms came. Oh no. They have arrived. I wasn't scared of them though. I even managed to kill one. Then I went to take care of the creepers that were left over, and while doing this, my farm got blown up. I killed the rest of the mobs and then put some lanterns down to stop that from ever happening again, and started on the pen for the chickens and other animals that I was planning on having. I finished this in the night, and the next villager arrived with my chickens. I led the chickens to their pen and locked them in there forever to do one thing and one thing only: make babies. Thank you. Then I went to kick the villager out of my bed. No, you're in my bed. Oh, wait, I can sleep now. I killed the villager, and I did the one thing I knew how to do best: break that block. I did this for a while, and eventually had all diamond tools. After what felt like years, I reached level 8, and surprise, surprise, I bought nothing from the villager. But I did have another one spawn in that had some cows for sale. Boom, boom. 2 cows coming in. Leave. Not even like 2 minutes later, my cows arrived. Already? You got that same day shipping upgrade on these guys. Damn. I locked them in a pen and then went to bed. And then spent the next day breeding cows, tending to the farm, breeding chickens, and hiding in a dirt box for whatever reason. When I got out of this box, I planted some sugarcane so that I could eventually make books so that I could enchant my gear. At night, I had the great idea to make a mob spawner for both XP and to see what other cool things I could get from them. I had planned to make 2 of them that connected so that I could have double the mobs and double the XP. So I started building the platform to fit that. The next day, I started building my first spawner. Eventually it was done and I tested it out. It worked very well, but I didn't want to collect everything that was being dropped, so I made some hoppers to put under it. I put 2 chests and hoppers underneath and was all set. Then I went to breed some animals again. For the next day or so, I did the basics: break block, breed animals, chop trees, and kill mobs. You know, the usual. Eventually, I got a hanging sign and decided to make a small thing around the entrance to the tree farm. Tree farm. Then I wanted to do something. I wanted to fish. So, I went to make a platform to make an area that I could fish in. This took all night to build and plan out, but eventually I had the whole thing built up. I made an infinite water source next to it and put water in it. I guess my way of doing this just wasn't a good one because none of the water was even when I broke the blocks. So I had to do some fixing, which took forever because I'm stupid. I eventually got it to be good enough and gave up. I made a fishing rod to test it out, and to my surprise it actually worked. I wanted to get a mending book through fishing, but that plan was cut short by some phantoms. Uh-oh. I planted some cherry trees around the fishing spot to make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing. I put some lanterns on some fake branches I made so that the area was well lit, and just like that, it was done. Besides the fact that there was no grass, just bare dirt. Ignore that for now. I took a step back to admire my build, and honestly, I was really proud of myself. I did not think I could make something like this look at least somewhat presentable. Listen, I'm not a builder, like, at all. I'm sure you can see that. I might be asking, why did you decide to make a Minecraft video if you can't build? Because I like Minecraft, okay? Sorry, I'm not like other Minecraft YouTubers who could build castles in 2 days, just let me enjoy the game. I was going to make an enchantment area, but before I started that, I needed a very certain block to spawn in. That's the block. I needed this grass block so I can make all of those dirt blocks in the fishing area and the ones I was about to have in my enchantment area into grass so that they could look a bit nicer. I eventually finished the platform and started building the enchantment area with the bookshelves. Then I replaced most of the wood in the enchantment area with dirt, and soon after, another villager spawned. Sorry. There's no running. You can't run. I eventually finished up the dirt blocks and made more bookshelves. Then I had a genius idea. Theoretically, that grass will spread to this dirt block, and it'll spread to that one, and to that one, and then, you know, you get the idea. And then it'll go all the way over there. And once it reaches over there, we're fine, but I just need it to spread to that. I don't know if it needs water to do this, but I'm gonna give it water because I feel like that would make sense. I then did some tree farming to finish up the railings around the enchantment table and threw down a bunch of eggs. 2. It felt like it had been a while and grass just wasn't spreading, so I looked it up to see if I was doing it wrong. I cannot believe I'm actually looking up right now how to make grass spread in Minecraft. After that, I did some farming and more egg throwing to grow my chicken army. In the morning, I tried planting some cherry trees by the enchantment table to make the area look a bit nicer. They weren't growing for some reason, no matter how much bone meal I used, so I tried placing them on dirt blocks, which worked for some reason. I planted 3 of them and put some lanterns down to light up the area. A bit later, I finished the bookshelves and immediately made some pickaxes so I could try to get the best enchantments on them. I had everything I wanted except for Fortune 3, which I needed more levels for. I sat at the mob spawner for a while, but it was taking longer than I had hoped, and I was getting a bit desperate. I bred my animals for the small amount of XP they gave, and then broke the block hoping to get blocks that would give me XP. This got me pretty close, so I went to kill more mobs and was ready. After I got Fortune, I made an anvil so that I could combine all of the enchantments onto one pickaxe. Then I tried upgrading it to netherite, which I haven't played since they added this update, but I was very confused when I wasn't able to just make it and needed a different smithing thingy to do it. I didn't have what I needed, so I gave up and hoped that I would get it sometime later. Eventually I had some quartz, so I decided to upgrade the area around the block a bit by replacing the slabs. That night I reached step 9, which was the last one. From this villager, I bought some skulk sensors, which I never ended up using. Soon after, I had another villager show up and sell me some pigs. I wanted some pork, so I bought the whole stock. However, when the next villager arrived, guess where he spawned? One of the pigs didn't make it, but I used water to get the other 2 down and into their pen. From this villager though, I bought a bunch of these pink flowers and placed them around the enchantment area and fishing area. The next morning, there was a rainbow because of the rain overnight. I can see the whole rainbow. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me there is no end to the rainbow? It's just a circle. I've been lied to my whole life. I continued upgrading the shrine thing around the block, and while I was mining, another villager spawned. Why? That night, I went to breed the animals again when I realized I may have too many chickens after picking up way too many stacks of eggs. Oh my god. Then I used another hanging sign I got to make the same thing I did with the tree area, but for the farm. The next morning, I bought some more lapis from another villager and started to enchant my sword with it. I eventually got a pretty good sword and tested it out on the mob. The next day, I went AFK for a bit before breeding more chickens. Then I fished for the next 2 days. After getting bored of that, I decided that I should make another portal, so I started to make a platform to do just that. As the sun began to set, I built the portal and used some stone to decorate the area a bit. The only problem now was that I had no way to light it. If I was to just do this. Would it work? After that, I decided to make some railings around the mob spawner area because knowing me, I would somehow fall off of it. The next day, I baked a cake because I felt like it. Then I threw a bunch of chicken eggs again. In this world, I was able to make an end portal in the nether, so I started to get the blocks to build one. I needed endstone, crying obsidian, and skulk blocks, but only knew how to get one of these, so I got as much as I needed and hoped that I would get the rest later. Then, while mindlessly breaking the block, I had an idea. Let me make armor. That night, I got tired of my chest with all my mining stuff being disorganized, so I made all of my ores into blocks. A few days later, while I was still waiting for all of my copper to smelt, I got a villager that sold me gravel, so I bought some and then broke it until I got flint. With this, I made flint and steel and lit the nether portal. In the nether, I just expanded the platform a bit and then left because I was scared. Then I continued waiting for my copper to smelt. This took days, and when it was done, I had some grass blocks which I used silk touch on so I could move them to the other areas. Then I went back to the nether and made a small area in hopes for things to spawn so I could get the things that they dropped. The next day, I made a discovery. What? Are you joking? I've been able to craft it this whole time. Then I waited for a villager to spawn to give me sand because I didn't buy it before. I went back to the nether and expanded this platform because things weren't spawning, but this time I put netherrack and soul sand. Then I fished for a bit more, still hoping to get a mending book because the only other way for me to get one would be to cure a zombie villager, and I'm gonna be honest, I just wasn't gonna do all that for a book. I got bored of that pretty quickly and got no book, so I fed the chickens again and then went back into the nether to expand the platform more because things were still not spawning. However, when I was leaving, I saw some piglins spawn in, so I made some gold boots so that they wouldn't kill me on sight and went back in. However, when I got there, the piglins weren't the only thing waiting for me. I blocked off the portal so that the blazes couldn't shoot me and quickly teleported back so that I could make a shield to defend myself. I went back in, ready to kill the blazes, but some piglins came to me, so I traded with them behind the portal. To my surprise, I eventually got crying obsidian from the trade, so I quickly ran back to make the end stone, but some friends joined me back in the real world. I was able to kill them, but I wasn't able to stop the fire from spreading all around my enchantment area. I realized that I just couldn't completely stop the flames, so I just made it so that they couldn't spread to the floor and burn down my whole platform. I started mining and waiting for a villager to spawn to sell me sand. One spawned in, but it didn't have it, so I killed him and then decided to check on one thing. I thought that if I could craft endstone, then maybe I could craft sand too. Sure enough, I was right, and I was able to make enough to get all of the endstone that I needed. At this point, I was ready to fight the ender dragon. I made a bow and enchanted it a bit so that I could do more ranged damage, and when that was done, I went back to the nether to make the portal. I placed the endstone and the sculpt blocks, and then placed the crying obsidian. The only problem was that, well, it didn't work. I looked it up and found out that I built it wrong. So I went back to make some ladders so I could build a platform under it like it had on the website for this mod.